I'm 77 years old, and the first thing I need to tell you, straight up, is that the statistics are cruel. The average man who reaches age 65 has only about 16 years of life left. 16. When you're in your 50s, that feels like a lifetime away. But I've already passed that marker, and I can tell you the reality. Most of those final years are spent managing declines that no retirement calculator ever predicts. The question is, what are you actually building? Not saving, but building. It took me until I was 68 to understand the difference, and that shift in perspective changed everything. I grew up watching my father work the same job for 31 years. His deal with life was simple. Work hard, keep your head down, and at 65, life finally begins. I followed that script. I built a solid career in insurance, married Helena in 1972, and raised 3 children with what was sensible and safe. We had a financial advisor who would point to a compound interest chart and say, "Richard, just keep feeding this. At 65, you'll be secure." I believed the chart. I believed that Social Security and health insurance would be my final destination. Helena and I planned the rest. Italy, road trips, gardening, the well-earned leisure. I worked until 66 to maximize my benefits. The retirement party had cake and handshakes. On that Tuesday, I drove home and sat at the kitchen table. The silence was deafening. I had reached the finish line and had no idea what came next. The first year was good. We finally went to Italy, but my knee, which I had ignored for decades, demanded payment on the streets of Positano. We came home early. Insurance covered part of the surgery, but the extra costs and physical therapy weighed heavy on the budget. Then came Helena's diagnosis. She is fine today, but that year of uncertainty exposed the cracks in my plan. One night, with a calculator in hand, I realized the truth. My perfect plan was a floor, not a ceiling. It worked if everything went right, but the margin was too thin. I had prepared to stop, not to keep generating. The turning point came with a phone call from my brother-in-law, Frank. At 64, he started consulting 2 days a week. He told me, "Richard, they aren't paying for my time anymore. They are paying for my 30 years of experience, and my knowledge is worth more today than ever." That hit me hard. I started calling former clients, not as a salesman but as an advisor. Within a year, I had a 15-hour-a-week consulting practice. It was new money, money I could invest without fear because it wasn't the capital I needed to protect, just to keep the lights on. But the biggest gain wasn't financial. I felt alive again. The part of us that solves problems and creates value doesn't want to retire. It just wants new terms. When I gave that part of myself a new structure, I gained a clarity I hadn't felt in decades. The secret isn't a financial product. It's an identity shift. Stop being someone who is preserving what's left and become someone who is building differently. The knowledge you've accumulated is a rare asset. Younger professionals and companies need your judgment, and they will pay for it. Your retirement fund is your floor, but an income based on your expertise is what creates the ceiling. It gives you the cushion for unforeseen medical costs and the surplus to actually live. At 72, my net worth crossed thresholds I never imagined reaching, all thanks to this second wind. Last year, we went back to Italy. 12 days, no rush, with good shoes. Looking at the sea, I knew I had won, not against the market, but against the version of myself that almost accepted that the best was already behind him. I am 77 years old. Time is moving. The moment you decide you've finished building, you truly stop. But as long as there is something to create, life expands. Don't wait to be ready. Start small. Start this week. If you want to turn your experience into real freedom and don't want to just survive retirement, Subscribe here to the Rich Retiree channel. Let's build your second act together. 77 arrives faster than you think. Make sure that when you get there, you are still building.